Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I'm the Keeper of the Secrets, and this is episode 20. Our recap will be given by David Gasaway as his character, Roland Kurtz. So, without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. David?
Thank you, Tom. Things are not as they should be aboard the magical Dreamland Express. I was already concerned that the arrogant Sarnathians managed to bully a member of the Ibian contingent, despite the astonishing telepathic powers of Mimi, the train engine. But this was hardly the beginning. We have taken aboard a broken madman, an escapee of sorts from a city of dreams, and he is held in a kind of cell in Mimi's body, seemingly unreachable. Among our fellow travelers, Dr. York noted that the paranoid Russian, Garakov, slipped a knife out of the dining car. Further, the troubled young dancer explains that a heart-shaped bag that Mrs. Barnaval carries is the key to a bitter mother's deadly revenge. The sad little Ibian delegation came to ask me to represent them with King Koranes, and I have agreed. They are as defenseless as they are repulsively alien. Neruda and I spoke to the Sarnathians briefly about concessions. They yield nothing. But there is no point in avoiding it any longer. Returning to my cabin, I found troubling stains, and these led me to discover, stuffed into a trunk, the cruelly mutilated body of young Nimbus, cat prince of Ulthar. I have summoned Henri. We will have to summon the cats and break the tragic news to them. I do not envy the fate of the savage coward who committed this vile act.
Oui, monsieur, you called for Henry. He's here. Mon Dieu, monsieur. What is this?
I have just opened the trunk myself to find the thing that has been done. You must summon the...
But this is Prince Nimbus. Oh. He becomes very upset.
Yes. And somehow Mimi didn't know this was happening, which troubles me.
But how? How has this happened? You didn't have anything to do with this, monsieur, no?
No, of course not. No, Prince Nimbus and I had a warm relationship, and I am not a violent man at any rate. No, we will have to have some investigation. I know that Dr. York and Thursby found marks upon the upper, the part of the carriage above the passenger car. If you will summon my friends and the cat mother and father, the king and queen, perhaps the other half as well.
We are in a very dangerous predicament. Let me summon your friends. And so he goes and he gets all of you. Please join Dr. Roland in his room.
Oh,
there's been a terrible tragedy.
Oh my God, what's happened?
Oh my God.
Dear Lord.
I will go to the back of the train and summon the cats. This is going to be extremely bad, monsieur. The cats are not always so reasonable.
Huh.
My God.
Shouldn't it be?
Such, I would not expect such horrific tragedy to fall.
I do not know how this is even possible aboard my train. And he looks extremely worried. And he goes to get the cats.
Dr. York, with these wounds, what do they look like to you?
Yeah, I want to get close and
I would caution too thorough of an investigation. If you get any cat blood on you,
I'll just get
After
close enough to
coming
where
out.
I can look and observe, and possibly through medicine be able to determine the
Yeah.
nature of the wounds.
Right.
I am not a vet.
Okay.
I'm
Could-
a
could I-
people doctor.
Could, with my extensive hunting knowledge and,
Sure,
and tracking
yes.
animals, could I inversely, instead of look for knife wounds, look for tear, claw, animal?
Yes.
Okay. And that's okay. What am I rolling against?
Natural world.
Oh, phooey. Oh, you know what?
Intelligence then.
The intelligence. Oh yeah, I nailed the intelligence. I missed my my natural world by 6 at 46 out of 40.
Well, it's interesting because you can tell. I mean, you'd have to say it was something sharp, like a knife, but they're not clean cuts. They're kind of more claw-like, or even like a sharp object that has some thickness to it was
Yeah.
used.
Yeah, like a thin scalpel would slice deep.
Would
and
slice it.
through,
Yeah,
and
it's
it would
not.
be a thin.
It's almost
slice
like
that was-
it's torn. Yeah.
That's torn. Yeah, this doesn't look like a knife. My God, this is. I can't believe this. Who would have done this?
There's that Russian man keeps some horrific thing in a box.
Huh.
There's
I think
I'm
if
trying
it
to
had
think of
been
things with claws.
a box of rats, I think Nimbus would have fared better, and we would see a entire scene of carnage.
Yeah.
I wonder, is there enough blood in this trunk that he was killed while in it, or was he killed elsewhere and deposited here?
No, you're pretty sure he was brought here bleeding. You notice that there is it's hard to tell on your carpet because your color is red.
Yeah.
But there may be a trail.
Okay. Is there like handkerchiefs or something that you can kind of
Sure.
put down? That way you're not touching the blood, but kind of
Right.
soak in. I'm going to try and kind of see outside the door if I can tell, does it go left, does it go right,
Or from the window, for that matter, since we know we have had people on the roof.
Right. It does look like it's going towards the window.
Okay. All
Dear
right.
God.
And in fact, you do find some blood marks on the windowsill, drips.
Hmm. When the cats
Those of you-
arrive, I think we should stand away and perhaps bow our head a bit while things get sorted out.
After a couple of minutes, you all hear something, and it sounds like a collective yowl has gone out towards the back of the train, and the soft stampede of cats moving through the train in this direction. Henri appears, and following behind him are the king and queen of cats. His name was Tarragon, and her name was Sophie. They come inside and immediately begin yowling. It's obviously they're heartbroken at this point. There are a number of other cats with them, and there's kind of a military formation, so they come up next to it, and one of them steps forward and looks up at you, and this voice comes out of its mouth, which startles you, and it says, "Who's responsible for this act of murder?"
We are attempting to determine this ourselves. All we know so far is that the prince seems to have been brought in through the window. We found, you see, a little of his
The
oil
cats are
blood.
immediately moving. 3 or 4 cats are moving around the room. They're sniffing things. They're smelling the blood. They're hopping up onto the windowsill. noticing it as well. And the one that jumps up on the windowsill says, "I believe whatever it was came in through the window carrying the body."
Well, then we should go out there and see if we can retrace their steps.
Before you can act, the cats sort of, they sort of form a semicircle, mostly around Henry, and in voices that are cats, but somehow you can understand them. They make the accusation: "You promised that we would be safe on board the train. You made a pact with us in order to establish your train. None of this should have ever been allowed to happen. How did you let this happen?" And Henry's at a loss for words. They're like, we need this is an international matter, interspecies matter between our people and your people. How is it going to be resolved? They're making a lot of demands on him all of a sudden about, how are we going to resolve this? Do we need to withdraw our sponsorship of the train system?
Henri, but maybe we might be able to help. Can we get a list of every single passenger on this train now?
Oh, please, monsieur, please help me.
Of course.
I don't know. This will damage my reputation throughout the Dreamlands if this isn't resolved. He says, "Of course, I'll give you a list." Well, he just produces it because you asked for it.
Yeah.
May we also ask that Mimi make sure nobody exits this train at this moment?
No one can exit the train, monsieur. It's not possible. And we still have a few hours to get to the next stop. The cats say to him, you have to resolve this before we get to Seranian, and you have to, or there'll be diplomatic nightmares. We insist that at least two of our they call them riders, but they're kind of the right-hand men of the king and queen. The two of our riders accompany these humans wherever they go, to make sure that they're not actually involved and that they're actually trying to solve this. Meanwhile, the king and queen are inconsolable. The king is trying to comfort Sophie, but understandably, they're extremely upset.
Mm-hmm.
So the end of the matter is that the cats kind of disperse a little bit, but you've always got two cats with you, who are the riders, and Henry says, "I suppose we need to make a general announcement to everyone on board the train of what's happened."
You think that's wise? Maybe we might get lucky and the culprit might be careless until he realizes his crime has been discovered.
If you think that that's wise,
But
you're going to be questioning the people about things, so they're going to figure out what happened.
Yes, but it's better to question them before they realize that we're...
As you wish. And Henry's going to kind of stick with you too, though he's not going to interact much because this is your investigation.
Is there a cat physician with the entourage? We need to establish time of death.
Cats don't have physicians.
What are the two cats with us? Do they have names or no?
We can give them names.
There are two cats for each, yes?
Yeah, well, if you guys split up, yeah. Well, just assume there's always two cats there.
Okay.
Just call him Ryder. Whichever one you're
okay.
pointing at, just call him Ryder. What was I going to say? Anyway.
We were trying to stat, or at least I think it's.
Time of death. Dr. York knows enough to know that there is still quite a lot of liquid blood. So it couldn't have happened, more than an hour ago. And thinking back, it's been, ever since you guys left the last stop, which was Czar, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You occasionally saw the cat running around playing. I think it was at one point sitting at Dr. Kerr's feet and gently purring. But maybe for the last hour and a half, you haven't seen him. So it's got to fall within that period of time.
Well,
there's no time to lose.
Yes, let's follow this trail.
I will go over to the window and request for Mimi to
lift you up.
To lift me up so I can see.
Do a spot hidden.
$28 is a hard success.
Yeah. There are definitely some gouge marks on the windowsill itself, as if something large and heavy and with, I don't know how to say it, like wedge-like claws or weaponry or something that sort of dug into the windowsill. So it's not knife blade, it's kind of V-shaped.
Does Dr. Neruda point this out to us? And
no, I keep it to I'll point it out to you.
So is this looking like what Dr. York and I saw on the roof? Similar?
Yeah, could have been.
This is exactly, well, this looks very similar to what we've seen all over the top of the roof of the car.
Ori, is it possible that the attack was not by someone who was a passenger of the train, but some perhaps flying creature that came in and attacked?
No, Mimi would not allow anything onto the train that was not.
But Mimi would not allow anyone to attack this innocent kitten either.
Well, I've been trying to figure that out in my mind. Mimi would never allow anyone to intentionally attack and harm another passenger. Maybe this is something else. It's possible to have an accident. Yeah. That can't be anticipated. But this doesn't look like an accident.
Yeah, and an accident wouldn't have a staged body after the fact.
Yeah, and
it looks like somebody's trying to frame you, Dr. Curtis.
That does.
Well,
and who would want to frame us?
Didn't you say you refused assistance to the Sarnathians? To their dismay?
York did.
Or York
Dr. York Edison was the one who refused them assistance. And we had just barely informed them that we were representing the Ibians. So unless they murdered the cat in anticipation of us.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Although I'm not sure, again, about Sarnathian time. Perhaps if 1,000 years for them is a short period for the Ibians, they could have been so insulted as to come. But I would think they would use long, sharp things.
They don't strike me as the types to be climbing up all over the outside of the train.
Henry also explains that the time difference between the two races doesn't exist on board the train. Everybody has the same time on the train. For the sake of your investigation, let's say that the death of the cat seems to have occurred around 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Gotcha.
And it is now around 3?
3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, 2 o'clock. Well, I think we should climb up. At least that's the hottest trail we have right now.
Yeah.
You were going to ask something, Dr. Neruda?
Yeah, I was gonna say there was some talk of weird knife marks in the structure above the train. So we got to go compare to see if they're the same wedge mark, if there's any blood things above.
So you do find, as you are lifted up or you're climbing up, you do find more of these little wedge marks. A lot of times you start to notice that they're in threes, like 3 side by side.
Are the distances between them the same?
Not always.
Oh.
As if, something could be moving as it's doing this. But it's you'd say that it's a fairly large span.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost,
we haven't seen any humanoid anything with claws like that, have we?
Well, technically, the Ibians have fairly large claws.
I think we would have smelled Ibian in the room. Also, I don't think of them as gambling about on tops of buildings so much as hiding in a sticky little lair.
Did those nightmarish things with wings that are carving
the tenders of the engine?
Yeah. Do they have claws?
They don't have claws. They have like long fingers.
Okay.
And the Ibians, have we noticed how many claws they have? Do they just have 3 claws?
I don't know that you've actually counted, but it seems probably like maybe they have hands like ours, but long claws. Mm-hmm. They could be, they're not extremely consistent.
Do we have any? Gunter, you've talked a lot with our Saturnine guest.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Has he described his cat to you at all?
No, he just says that he has been looking for it and he has no hope of he's losing hope in finding it. But
Henry will correct you and say he's Cerubian, not Saturn.
Cerubian. Oh, my apologies.
Cerubian.
And his cat is named Fortune. It's actually named Bahatiki, but Fortune is how that translates into English.
Well, let's scale the wall, get to the roof, and see if there's more blood trail.
All right. So you climb up onto the roof. Everybody do spot hiddens. Unfortunately, the roof is not like flat, so it's got bric-a-brac on it here and there.
Hard pass.
Extreme success.
Nice.
Just regular.
Theodore, with your success, you do notice a couple of spots of blood, but they could have been flung, so they don't really indicate a direction that they came from or where they went. Dr. York, unfortunately, you begin to notice that whatever this thing was, it's been scrambling all over the roof, almost as if it's trying to locate something. And it does scramble to the edges of the train, so as if it was on top trying to look down through the window.
Following those scratches where it seems to be kind of going all over, does there seem to be a place where it terminates, much like it does over our window, like it had gone over?
You can't see the windowsills from the top of the train. You'd have to go into the rooms to check.
Mimi doesn't have recollections of who Mimi has helped with what.
She doesn't really have a mind like that.
Okay.
So there's no place that we can follow the trail up here. There's
Correct.
no additional blood, and there's
It
no additional. It scrambles, and there's no additional, or there's no indication of whatever this was with claws. It went over the edge down to a window here, much like it did over ours.
Correct.
Okay.
And
right.
as ornate as these rooftops are for each carriage, there aren't any secondary rooms or little hiding places up here. There's nothing that a substantial creature.
There are places on the sort of domed centers of them that could be almost like little balconies. I think that Dr. York and Theodore kind of found one of those and sort of sat on it and watched the landscape go by. And so there are places you can rest and relax. Nothing seems to be able to see you from up here.
But we don't find strange blackbird cowering in one of these.
No.
And the marks are only on the passenger car, not on the one before and after?
Correct.
Yeah, I was going to say with the extreme, do we know that all of the activity is located or centralized only on this car?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, well, that narrows our search.
All right.
It's this car, unless someone got into the window and has traversed between cars normally.
Yeah, it looked like you said, it looks like it was looking for something up here, like it kept scrabbling back and forth. And
it
kind of
could have been looking for Prince Nimbus.
It could have, but I wonder if like Prince Nimbus just came across it on accident, but I mean, doesn't justify slaughtering the poor.
But how would Prince Nimbus encounter it on accident up here?
Cats love to, forgive me, writer, but the cats I've known love to climb and balance in high places.
It's true.
Very curious.
Going to where it was kind of scrabbling, look for like hey, is there parts that like are a little soft, like if you have like a, I don't want to say trap door, but something like that. Sometimes they'll give a little bit more because they don't have the support underneath it like regular floor would.
The substance of the top of the train is kind of like alabaster. It's you don't see any seams or places like that in it, so it doesn't look like you'd have a trap door in it.
Okay.
I would also like let's have Dr. Roland do an idea roll.
A regular success only.
Okay.
Little idea.
Well, standing up here on the top of the train, it suddenly occurs to you that you may be the victim of randomness, because if this thing killed the cat, it couldn't have just flung the cat out the window, because Mimi would have immediately grabbed it and pulled it inside. So it had to put the body somewhere. And since it seems to have scrabbled all over the top of this, it could have just picked you by accident.
Yeah. It does increasingly seem less a specific act of violence and more circumstantial. Henri, are there things in Dreamland that are invisible to Mimi or to us?
There are things that are invisible, but I don't think Mimi doesn't use eyes, so she would sense anything that came nearby.
What if something were mindless?
I think she would sense anything, any kind of danger that came here.
But then it doesn't. Prince Nimbus could not have done this to himself.
No.
And And
I mean,
so
let's see how.
we have a violation of Mimi's basic means of operation, one way or another.
Well, I mean, if Mimi doesn't intervene, like couldn't intervene if it was an accident, would Mimi intervene if it was like a predation situation?
I think
although the prince doesn't look like it's been eaten. Just
yeah, I feel like we might be trying to get too tight into this. Whether it was an accident or murder, there was a posing of the body after the fact. So I feel like, if nothing else, even if it was an accident, that nefarious means are coming into it after the fact. Whoever or whatever killed Prince Nimbus doesn't want to be caught. And because of that, I feel like we might be wasting time. So we've identified that, at least from the rooftop, it didn't escape to another car through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back down inside the train. Let's spread out and start questioning the members of the car. And maybe what we could do is enlist more cats, more riders to be posted at the exits, the crossovers from car to car, the transition points. And they can screech and holler and do what they need to do to keep everyone who's in our car, keep them in our car, so that we can start doing the rest of the investigation through. I think it's a great idea that we didn't make a train-wide announcement. Let's just make our announcements as we question people, but we need to start going through here, because if we're wasting time up here on the roof now, someone could be scooting away and getting into who knows what car, and then, hiding out until they make it to Sarnathian.
I have a feeling whatever this is that's done this, even up here where it doesn't have to hold on, it's still chipping away at the alabaster. So there should be a trail of it wherever it is. If it went inside, we should be able to find.
It feels like it's bestial of some kind, or at least bestial from our human perspective. It feels like it's bestial of some kind, which might imply that it has some kind of master that it serves, and maybe its master is trying to hide it. Or if it is, an Ibian, we should start, I think, by questioning the Ibians. But I think we're wasting time. Let's get back inside.
Okay.
I jump off so maybe catches me and brings me
I wouldn't do that because Mimi's been malfunctioning a little bit. So.
Oh, good point. Good point.
I don't think we're looking for a human. I wonder if perhaps something is the case. If our irritable Russian friend Karakov was, say, a lycanthrope, perhaps he had an episode and leapt out of his window and run around the roof and hopped, and saw a napping cat. And Ari, if one of us could turn into a wild beast, would Mimi recognize the distinction between the passenger before and after this transition?
I don't know, monsieur. This has never happened before.
I'm afraid I have a very bad theory that we can't disprove.
Roland.
Yeah.
Do you recall our little friend from the from the Parisian catacombs?
Oh, old Guillaume, the one who wanted to be left alone.
Did Guillaume have claws like this, wedge-shaped?
No, he would have more dog-like claws. Smaller.
Also, he showed no interest in the living, only the already deceased.
These knives or blades or whatever they were, they would have been fairly large, almost like like that sort of a thing, it's a pair of scissors. They would have been big.
They're in sets of 3.
Which the Ibians are fairly big, but you haven't seen them attack anything with their claws.
Henri, is it possible to have to ask Mimi to suspend all cleaning and incineration and garbage disposal for the duration of this investigation? Thank you.
We miss you, of course.
All right. So we ask, is there any passengers except for us, the old woman, the Russian, and the dancer? Oh, and Meranim.
And the guy who plays chess with the Russian.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
Yeah. So maybe some of us and a couple of riders start asking the human passengers, and maybe.
And the insane guy.
Well, if Mimi lets the maniac out of her little bone cage in the cellar, then we have to look no further. But I think he is bouncing off the walls.
Restrained.
Yeah, he was restrained when we met him. Yeah.
You don't imagine that he brought something with him from
or on him,
some kind of nightmare or some. I don't know how this place works.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is an interesting question. Maybe one of his dreams.
Looking for him.
This is interesting. Maybe a dream from Tsar is following him still, and it's something that Mimi has a hard time seeing, or it emanates from him.
So maybe Dorian goes with somebody to talk with him if he can talk at all. But maybe there's some evidence of something coming from that cell.
Is he on this? Is that cell on this car?
No, that cell is on the observation.
But again, this whatever was out here was looking for something.
Yeah.
And if it didn't find it here, it could move on. It could have moved on somehow.
Okay. So Dorian, I will accompany you as we and you can assess my questions. Or assess, not assess.
So Gunter and Dorian are going to talk to the person from Tsar.
With 2 cats accompanying.
Oh, of course.
And maybe Thursby and York, you have questions for the passengers, and Neruda and I will talk to the Ibians. And maybe our riders will send some cat blood, and then there will be a very bad further diplomatic episode.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Dorian
Gunter and Dorian
Gunter are going to the Tsar.
Ibians.
The person. No, they're going to the person from Tsar.
The disturbed
madman inside of.
Oh, Madman. Okay. Madman. And Thursby and York.
Thursby and York are interviewing the passengers. And Roland and myself are going to talk to the Ibians.
Okay. Gunter and Dorian. Yes. Having climbed down and moved through the train, you go to the floor circle, which I can't remember which color we assigned for him, but you step on the button and it slides open and you go down. It's exactly the way you left it. In fact, your little chest set is still there. The madman is sleeping. He is laying in his cell. You can see through the door, but he is still restrained by Mimi.
Right. Approach and go, pardon me, sir.
It takes a bit to, in fact, let's roll something for that. Roll, I don't know what to roll for. If you want to, you can wake him up, but it ends up costing you a lot of
time
making noise and.
Yeah, it's like there's like a little thing you can kind of go back and forth across the bar. It's like
what you do realize. Do an idea roll. This would be a good one.
99. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, you can't have Dorian do it. Yeah. For those of you watching, Josh has laryngitis, so he didn't pass. Okay. So wonder.
Dorian did pass.
You passed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Dorian kind of suggests that the man has lived in like nightmare land for God knows how long. All these loud noises, they don't easily faze him because it's been going on for.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah.
But you eventually wake him up. And he yells and screams, stop dancing on the roof.
Because I go, has something followed you?
Who are you?
I am someone here to someone here to help you with what pursues you.
He babbles on, and then just turns over and tries to go back to sleep and covers his ears.
Okay. He goes, to sleep, perchance to dream. Has the little mouse been followed from its home?
Nothing. He just lays there and rocks, sort of.
I look around. Is there like something that I could kind of like have like 3 sharp things, like like little sticks, like chopsticks, is what I think, and then kind of
do a spot hidden.
Okay. No.
There, you don't see anything. There's nothing in there.
Okay.
There's not even a cot or a bed. He's just lying on the floor.
Does he have an extra shadow, Dorian is wondering? No. Okay. All right.
It's an interesting question. But because it's daytime outside and because he's actually inside of Mimi, there's kind of a diffused greenish sort of light that fills everything down in here because it's just filtering through the walls of Mimi. So he doesn't really have a shadow at all.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Not a shadow. I think I'm gonna kind of look around and inspect the walls, kind of rub my hands on it and feel if there's any like imperfections, like something was here that like gouged and.
But none. It's soft and pliable. It's like the inside of a stomach.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Neruda and Thursby.
No, I'm with Roland.
Wait.
Dr. York is with the Thursby.
Oh yeah, I wrote it right. I wrote it wrong. Dr. Neruda and Dr. Kurz. You were heading to.
Yeah, we're heading down, but on the way, since we're heading to the Ibians, who are close to where the madman is being stored. Roland, Mimi, we've established Mimi has some kind of psychic connection, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how bringing a person such as our new guest, who has seen all manner of horrifying things, I wonder if his psyche could disturb Mimi in a serious way.
That's also an interesting question. That is Henri.
Oui, monsieur. Henri is here.
Dr. Neruda has an interesting idea.
Could Mimi be being affected adversely by the addition of our new guest?
Well, monsieur, you do recall that I was quite worried about allowing him on board the train. I don't think so. The relationship I have with maybe it might seem psychic, but it's more physical than that. In fact, I would say that at this point, it's very, very difficult for me to discern where Mimi ends and where I begin.
And you feel very much yourself, I take it.
I do. But that's why this present situation has me worried. I am devastated that the prince was killed. But at the same time, if my contracts are dissolved and the train is dissolved, I'm dissolved as well.
Yeah. How tight a schedule does the Dreamland Express run? If you slow down for a little while, can you make up for it by going a little faster?
Oh, yes, I think so.
Yeah. I wonder if Dr. Noda is onto something, and the timing is suggestive. It is since Tsar that this issue has appeared. Perhaps if the membrane that holds our unfortunate passenger could be extended out of the vehicle, maybe we slow down a little bit so it's not so dangerous, maybe sort of pushes that stomach to the side, maybe opens it a little to the air. And if there is something that is seeking him, pursuing him, or attached to him, it will become evident in these circumstances. Also, maybe if he is disturbing her and he's not inside her very body, so close, maybe it's clearer.
It's an interesting thing. Yes, I think we could do that. We could make it so that the openings are not large enough for him to get out.
Yeah.
Well, he can still be restrained. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that we could do something like that.
And then we see whether something is hunting him or something is emanating from him.
Tell me when you want to do this, and we shall do it, as you say.
As soon as Gunter and Dorian are done trying to talk with him, I think the sooner the better. But
okay, so I will wait for you here on the observation platform. You were going to go visit the Ibians.
Yes, yeah, which is here. I think they're under this circle. Is that right,
The
Roland?
green circle. Yes, I think so. Yes.
Do you knock?
Yeah.
What is Ibian formalities?
I think that you could just visit them.
We open it up, we let a little gas come out, we say, hello, we are coming down.
Okay. You can definitely smell the cheese. To Dr. Roland, it starts to kind of grow on you. I mean, so to speak. It's not unlike a really exotic cheese.
I am originally from Switzerland, after all. We are not averse to experimenting with fungus this way.
To Dr. Neruda, it smells a little bit more like rotten vegetables. All right. So you go down. I'd like you both to do spot hidden since you go down.
There's cat blood everywhere.
74 is a fail.
98 is worse than that.
All right. So you're moving down the sort of soft stairs as you get to the bottom, and it starts, the passage sort of opens up. You do start to notice bits of red on the walls and the floor. And as you come forward, you're coming into almost let's call it like the fungus chamber, which is there for them to be comfortable in. There are splashes of red on the walls and on the floor. And a few of the Ibians seem to have red stains around their mouths.
How are the riders doing?
The riders are very nervous. They do not like the smell down here.
Maybe even we suggest they stay somewhat on the stairs so they can.
One of the riders goes up to a red stain on the wall, and presses its nose close to it and gives it a sniff. And it looks up at you and it says, beet juice.
Yeah, that is good. Thank you for checking. Where is the squeaker, please? We would like a small conference.
One of them steps forward and pulls out the squeaker. What can we do for you?
There's been a bit of an incident on the train.
The first question is: have any of your contingent explored the roof at all of the caravan?
The roof, it is too dry. We would not go onto the roof.
Have any of your party left your vestibule here recently?
Since we spoke to you earlier.
Only a few of us have done this since we were aboard the train and we were attacked by the Sarnathians. And so we now are staying here. We have just finished our afternoon meal.
Did you, when you fell 10,000 miles to Earth, did you find it difficult to find food here? Did you have to adjust your appetite?
You are speaking of our origins.
Yeah.
That was many, many millennia ago.
Yeah.
I am sure that our ancestors found some difficulty.
Would you mind if I had a look at one of your sets of digits? Do you say hand or paw?
Well, they show you their hand. It's very much, it's 5 digits, but they do have fairly prodigious sharp claws. They're not really triangular though. They're fingernail shaped.
Do you know if the Sarnathians have brought any weapons with them?
The Sarnathians are most likely to have brought many weapons. They are terrible, terrible people, mostly spears. They use their spears to push our children into the water. They're terrible, terrible. If something bad has happened aboard the ship, it must be the Sarnathians.
The spears, how large?
Oh, very long and very sharp. They killed our people and pushed us into the water.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
What are their spears? Do they have 1 point? How many points do their spears have?
Oh, 1 point is enough.
Have you had an opportunity at all to meet the delegation from Ulthar since you have been on the train?
You're speaking of those creatures, the cats. We are not familiar with their kind. They don't like us because of the smell. Most creatures don't like us because of the smell.
It's good to be self-aware. So there is a bit of diplomatic crisis. I hope it will not impact the conversation you plan to have with King Coronis.
No, that is our highest priority. But what has happened?
The prince, the royal family of the cats was on board the train, and a terrible fate has befallen the prince. Cat.
Oh, then it must be the Sarnathians. He was a small one.
Yeah.
Yes, they pushed our children into the river, into the lake with long spears. It must be them. They're evil.
Yes, and do you eat all vegetables as your diet?
Yes, we only eat vegetables and sometimes fish, but mostly vegetables.
Yeah. If you should see any of the Ultharians, you are aware now that they are in mourning, and hopefully it will not interfere, as I said, with the diplomatic mission. We will speak to you at when the king boards the train.
If it helps, we send our condolences.
I appreciate that. The Zoriders will carry them for you.
So we will leave.
So as you leave, you do hear a couple. Well, they don't squeak to one another, so you don't know what they're saying to one another telepathically.
There's a general feeling of rumbling. I think we need to get a fresh air and maybe a coffee or something stronger.
Something for sure.
So as you leave, you notice your friends up on the observation platform, and they attempt a little experiment wherein Mimi sort of bulges out to the side and creates a separate little area that has a kind of, I don't know, bars instead of solid walls, in order to attract something's attention, if that means something. So oh, you said you were going to. That's when Gunter and Dorian join you, I mean. All right, so Thursby and Dr. York, who are you going to go question first?
Let's see. We have Lady Bonaval, Miss Zusha, a dancer, Mackenzie, avid chess player, Kokoloff. Who else do we have on our list?
Marona Mur.
Marona
And I think that's
it.
one.
I think we should start with Kokoloff.
Okay. Kokoloff. All right, you go and you knock on Kokoloff's door. And you hear him inside. He says, "Go away. I don't want to speak to anyone."
You're charged by the authority of the Dreamlands in this train to ask you some questions.
What are you talking about? And he opens up the door and looks at you and he says, "It's you. You're not police or KGB."
Yes, sorry to disturb you, Karkov, but may we come in?
Guess fine. You're friends. Both of you do spot hiddens.
One. I won. I haven't done that for a while. Sorry.
Kokoloff has his hand bandaged.
Oh.
Mr. Karkov, good to see you. Hopefully you've been having a good evening. Yes?
No, not at all. It's all the noise. The noise is driving me crazy.
Oh, yes. Well, I find when it gets too noisy to open a window, and that'll kind of help, vent the acoustics. Let me help you. I want to go to his window and open it and check the sill.
No, don't open the window.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's my pleasure.
No, the cannons, they're very loud. No. And he grabs the side of his hand.
I'm going to check the windowsill.
Do spot hidden.
I'm closing the door behind us, making sure it's closed.
Okay.
I have a hard success.
Okay. Yeah. You don't see anything. There's no marks or anything like that. No blood. Please close the window.
My apologies. I thought it would be soothing and relief, but I'll let me close that for you. Sorry.
Now, what is this all about? Why have you come?
Well, we have news. But,
why are the cats?
Yes, it involves the cat. Have I mentioned I'm a doctor?
A very good doctor.
Yes, I believe you have said this to me. Yes.
I can't help but notice that your hand is bandaged. May I take a look? I might be able to render some aid for you.
It is nothing. It is a scratch.
Please, it's my pleasure. It would stain my honor if I was not able to render aid for you.
Do a persuade.
Math. Let me spend 18 luck. Oh, man, really low on luck. But I'll spend the 18 luck to make
I
it a
can back
success.
you with intimidate.
He says, well, I don't know. I mean, if you insist, but I'm sure it's nothing.
It won't take but a minute. Let me here. And so I want to cradle his hand and slowly unwrap it so that I can examine the wound. And I always have my medical bag with me, and I want to be able to apply anything and then rewrap it.
It's not bandaged professionally. It's just basically he has a piece of cloth wrapped around it. So it reveals he's got a mark going across his hand like this, as if he slashed it open on something.
Okay.
But I mean, it's fresh, maybe in the last hour or so.
Are you okay?
Maybe older than that. He says, yes, it was just an accident. It was an accident.
Can I give a first aid?
Yeah. I can do a roll.
While
Success.
While he's focused on the first aid, I kind of look around, do like a light peripheral look around the room for anything out of place.
Why don't you do a spot hidden?
Oh, it's a success, but man, do I push it to a hard?
You don't need to. Sort of looking around, you notice two things. One is it looks like the hilt end of a sword or a cutlass or something kind of hidden under his bed. And you also notice on the desk, which he's got one of those sort of shut up desks, you can pull the thing down. It's not all the way down. You think you can see a kitchen knife, not a kitchen knife, a steak knife there as well.
How much time do I have? Is the sword that's tucked under, is that easily accessible? Or is that
yeah, you could reach down and grab it. It looks like it's in a position so that if he was lying in bed, he could reach down and pull it out.
As I'm doing first aid on it, I'm going to hold his hand up and just kind of probe the wound a little bit, checking for things like any pus and if it's infected, and asking questions like, oh, how did this happen? And is it his left hand or his right hand?
It's his right hand.
And have we seen or noticed, I've played chess with him. Is he a lefty? Does he primarily move his pieces left-handed?
No, he's a right-handed.
He's a right-handed. Okay. I'm like, how did something like this happen? Are you okay? And it looks blade infected, doesn't it? Or blade inflicted.
Just an accident. Yes.
You must be careful. I don't know. So I'm trying to give cover.
Yeah. While that's going on, I will quietly just lift it up and produce the blade and look. Does anything seem to be smeared on it? Does it look? And I do.
It is a cutlass.
Yeah.
Pirate cutlass.
Yeah. Got it.
And yes, there is red smeared on the blade down towards the tip.
Towards the tip. Okay.
Like maybe 7 or 8 inches of blood right on the tip.
Oh, geez.
On the blade.
That's okay. Yeah, that's not just a little hand wound. How? Okay, yeah, I wouldn't know this yet, but yeah. Okay, so I'll just sort of.
Well, it's not a lot of blood. It's just there you can see the smear there.
Yeah,
just along an edge.
7 or 8 inches of blood. Yeah, that's a significant amount of blood.
All right, so after I've applied a cream or something, I'll wrap the hand in a more professional manner so that it'll stay closed. And restore 1 hit point to him.
Okay.
And then once he's been wrapped up, and if it seems as if Theodore is done with his search, good gravy. I'll say, well, Mr. Kharkov, we wanted to inform you that there has been an accident, and one of the feline crown prince has been killed, has died. You're on mute.
Sorry, I coughed. One of the cats. Why? Who would have killed the cat?
We don't know, but
put that back under my bed the way you found it. I don't want to accidentally grab it the way I did earlier. That is how I cut my hand.
you need to be careful, sir. Please.
I must defend myself against the enemies that are
What
trying
enemies?
to destroy. You can't hear the guns, the war.
Yes, the war. Yes. It will all be okay soon. Let me ask you, besides the war, have you heard any other sounds, anything unusual?
I hear the sounds all the time. The sounds of the enemy at the door, the sounds of the enemy everywhere around me.
When I had the blade out and had it down, did the cats at all take any sort of notice? Did they get a like?
Yeah. Did you want them? Did you want them to?
Oh yeah, kind of like down,
All right.
kinda.
So when you hold the blade down to the cat, one of the riders comes up and sniffs it, and he looks up at you and he says, "Human."
Oh wow, this is very. Thank you.
All right. So if I have any painkillers or if I have anything to help with sleep, I'll leave a few of those pills behind for Kharkov. I'll just set them here for you, and I'll roll up the desk lid so there's plenty of desk surface so I can put the pills down on that desk.
Okay. And you see the steak knife.
Yeah, is that in plain view or is that covered?
It's pretty much in plain view so that he can grab it.
Okay,
if he
and
needs
there's
to.
nothing unusual on that.
It's not. It doesn't have any blood on it.
Okay.
All right, so I'll leave the pills there for him, and sorry to disturb you.
Now, will these pills, will they make me vulnerable because my enemies could come and attack me when
No.
I am asleep?
The pills actually protect you while you sleep, so your enemies cannot get to you.
Excellent. These are the good pills. I thank you very much. You're a very kind man.
Well, anything for my friends.
Thank you, good sir.
And we will see ourselves out.
Okay. Now,
I
by
think we
this
should-
time, go ahead.
Teddy, I think we should try and do something similar. Obviously, not everyone's going to have a hand wound for me to examine, but every room that we can get into, let's see what we can do to separate.
Yeah.
So that they can't watch both of us at the same time. I'll try and do the window stuff. You try and look around. We'll see what we can do.
Brilliant.
And we'll just move down to the next door. But
Okay. Well, I was going to say, since that probably took you 10 or 15 minutes talking to him, everybody else, nothing is coming for the bulge.
Okay, well, I think it's still best to leave him in the bulge. I mean, we don't know if he's what psychic impacts he could be having, even if Henri isn't aware of it. I mean, Mimi's not aware of stuff, and he said they're basically the same. So if she's not aware of something, he's not aware of it either. So
Right.
we'll just leave him suspended out there.
So did the four of you want to stay there watching, or?
I mean, I think we can have a cat watch.
We could have Dorian watch, and if something happens, he can just yell.
Okay.
Yeah, yell really loud
The big yeller.
across a whole range of notes,
Yeah.
high and low.
Excellent. All right. So the other three of you, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna.
Do you want to go join the others?
Oh, I might go talk to Mackenzie. I mean, I've built up a rapport with him.
Have these activities with going back and forth and whatnot? Is it 3:30 now? Is it 4?
Well, we'll say this has only been maybe half an hour since.
Yeah, so 3:30
Yes.
more or less. I'm wondering about our arrival in the city and also dusk at the current schedule. So I will check with Henri about this.
Yes,
Are we
dusk is
unscheduled?
probably not. We should actually be in Hafelrat in
See, in the waking world, I have a very complete schedule of the Orient Express, but here I never know what station is next or when.
we should arrive in Hafelrat just as the sun is going down, around 7 p.m.
Mm.
Okay, so we have 2.5 hours really to have some kind of solution to give King Tarragon and Queen Sophie.
3.5 hours.
7, yeah.
And I have slowed down this year, so
Mhm.
Very good. Is there any way that Mimi can check herself for some sort of infection or illness? Is there any? I understand this is an unusual situation for you, but because her behavior has been beneath its usual superb par. Oh, and even as I say that, I'm going to think that I want a Pernod and see if I just get a Pernod.
what's a Pernod?
It's a liqueur. It would come in a little glass, dark brown.
Yeah, it's brought to you immediately by
Okay,
the
so
tentacle.
yeah, okay.
We
All
miss
the noble
you.
stuff works.
What I can do is I can meditate,
Hmm.
and our existence comes more into focus.
Yeah, I think if you maybe can run things, maybe even slows down a little bit, independent, and you can make this communion, perhaps you will learn that there is some.
We miss you. And if you need something, summon me.
Yeah, we'll try not to though. We'll give you a little time to find whatever is disturbing the.
If I don't respond immediately, I will be in the car where you saw the creatures.
It's the engine room, more or
The
less.
engine room, yeah.
Yeah, with the tenders, given the fuel.
It's the tender, yeah, the one that's attached to the one just before the engine.
And be careful, Henri.
Oui, monsieur. So he goes that way, which means he goes into the restaurant through the kitchen and into past the fourgons and into the tender.
I'd be curious to find where Prince Nimbus was killed, because he wasn't killed in your room; he was left there.
Yeah.
I wonder where that actually happened.
Are there are empty berths probably in the passenger train as well?
No, probably not.
Oh, they're
created by
they come as needed. Yeah.
Right.
It's a pity. It would be a convenient place for a stowaway to hide. All right, so if you're happy, Dabrowski, watching for the shadow to come down and attack the crazy man. How is the crazy man doing in his new environment?
He is trying to ignore all outside stimulus, and he's just curled up in a ball on the floor trying to sleep. And occasionally he blurts something out, which is just gibberish.
All right, so Bloch is best friends with the scout and the dancer both. But none of us can talk to. Maybe Bloch should take Juska to speak to Bonneval, because I don't think she'll talk to us.
Yeah, I'd be willing to try. I mean, that woman.
Yeah, or Thursby could dress
Should
up
we have-
again, do a
Should we
quick
have
shave.
York try to talk to the Sarnathians?
Oh, they like him a great deal, yeah. They might even brag to him if they were guilty.
So York, well, I mean, do you agree, Dr. York?
Yes, that's a very good idea.
Okay. And Gunter, you're going to go try to talk to Madame Bonneval. You're going to get Zusha though?
Yeah, that's an intro because last
Okay,
time
so you can talk to Zusha and
Yeah.
Madame Bonneval.
And who should go with Gunter?
I think you're probably more charming than I am.
I've got some charm.
I'm charming a little less than half the time, I find, on average.
Yeah, same. Just a little under half of the time.
Yeah.
And Dorian's staying where he is.
What about you, Theodore? How charming do you feel?
I feel a little bit more than half the time I'm charming.
I think Theodore should go with Gunter.
I think so. And we'll
Yeah.
go and have a drink with Mackenzie and
And the the Cerubian, whatever he
yeah.
I mean, his incredible wine.
Yeah, and his alarming warning about having tried to trick a sorcerer. I have not felt comfortable about my decision since he spoke so prophetically.
You don't think it is that man, that the Frenchman, the Duke, as he goes by now, sending us a message here, do you?
You're full of disturbing notions today. I think if the Duke could reach the Dreamland Express
Would it be
with
so
us on
subtle?
it, it would be more aggressive, yeah. And it's not been very long, and he didn't know what he was getting anyway.
It's true. It's true. Oh, what a
Mackenzie first or Miranmir? I think the Miranmir scares me a little, so maybe we get that over with and then we drink with
yes,
the
I
Scotsman.
agree. Here.
Okay, so Dr. Kurz and Neruda are going to Miranmir. Kurz, Neruda. And Gunter and Thursby
Yep.
Hello? Yes.
are
Yes.
going to go see Jusha and then Madame Bonneval.
Mhm.
And Dr. York is going to go talk to the Sarnathians. Dr. York. Okay. So let's see. Dr. York. You head to the Sarnathians spot. You can hear music coming through the door as you approach. Dr. York. You can hear music coming through the door.
Okay. Loud or soft?
I mean, it's not kind of loud music. It's kind of lute playing and flute playing.
Okay. So it's not going to demand a strong banging
Right.
on the door to be heard. All right. So yeah, come up to the door and rap on it to get their attention.
You hear the music continue to play without any interruption, And then there is the door sort of opens just a little bit, and one of the ladies looks out at you and she says, "What do you want?"
And remembering that I am quite handsome, when she opens the door, I'll lean in and look her right in the eye and say, "I believe you want to invite me in."
It's one of the humans, the halfway decent looking one. They're like, "Well, let him in." And as you walk through the door, one of the men from across the room, they're all kind of laying on daises, except for the woman that answered the door. And some of them are playing musical instruments. Change your mind, decide you wanted to represent us before the king, make a good show of it, and get well known by the people, because you'll be associated with us from that point on.
Well, I have given it thought, and I must inform you that I must decline. But I come for another matter of some urgency that I feel that you must be informed of. For you see, there has been a death aboard the train.
Hopefully an Ibian.
It is not an Ibian. It is royalty. It is the crown prince of cats, Nimbus.
They all sort of look at each other and roll their eyes, and they're like, "And
Yes.
what does
Yes.
this have to do with us?"
And I'm strolling through the room towards the window. Yes, I understand and predicted that this would be your reaction, but I feel that it is only fair that you be warned that it is possible that some accusations may come your way, for it is currently unknown who it is that has killed the prince, and there may be some aboard who think it could have been the Sarnathians. I find this preposterous, but it was necessary to come and warn you. And by this time, I want to stroll through the room and make it to the windows so that I can, pull a finger across the windowsill and just kind of check it for cleanliness and damage and anything else that may be there.
Do a spot hidden.
I am into single digits on
Actually,
luck.
I don't think, you know what? I'll take that back. You don't have to do it. You know what you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
I only missed it by 5.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Okay.
It's preposterous. Why on earth would we want to kill a cat? You know who would want to do it?
Exactly.
The Ibians. The Ibians would have done it. They're little beasties. They probably wanted a snack.
I said the same thing, but no one listens to me. I don't know why, as I gently stroke my face, but it was only fair that we come. And of course, the rider cats are with us, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are the rider cats like darting into the room, and are they drawn to anything, or
they follow you in, and they're walking around and smelling. And you notice that the Sarnathians' reaction to the cats are they kind of pull away from them like filthy things. But they don't act in any way hostile towards the cats. And the cats don't seem to notice anything unusual here. There is a lot of perfume smells, which could mask a lot of.
And as the cats are moving about, and as I'm just making these these wildly large arm movements and just kind of strolling through the room. I do want my eyes to kind of look around and see if I can just kind of get an accounting of the bits and bobs within the room.
It looks like that everything here is for their pleasure, that they're, eating fruit and niblets, and they're playing their musical instruments. And
so do they have like a bundle of grapes and things
like that? Yeah.
Okay. As I stroll through, I'll pluck a grape and eat it myself as well.
One of the men turns to one of the women and says, we could hire him as like a court jester or something.
And Teddy's with me, yes?
No.
I'm all alone.
He came with me.
Okay. I Sarnathian humor. It is not as understated as I have been led to believe.
We're sorry that the Ibians have murdered one of your friends, but there's no point in being here with us. So unless you have something important, if you have something to tell us that you're going to assist us, as we so graciously asked you, then get the hell out of our room.
One last question. Have you heard anything unusual, anything strange or startling while you've been relaxing?
What could we possibly? And one of the women says, there was that noise on the roof.
Interesting. Tell me more about that, please.
It was nothing. She thought she heard something climbing around on the roof earlier. A bird, probably.
Okay. All right. Well, if it should happen again, please let us know. Do you recall about how long ago it was that you heard that?
Not really.
Yes. I do. I forgot. My apologies. Sarnathian observation of time is not as acute as others. My apologies.
The woman walks across the room towards you, past you. She walks over to the door and opens it up and gives you a smile like, get the hell out.
Thank you for your time.
And out you go. Let's see. Gunter and... Is it Gunter and Neruda?
It is Theodore.
Gunter and Theodore.
Yeah.
Okay. So you head over to Zusha's room. Where are you at, Zusha? And you knock. After a few moments, she comes over to the door and she opens up and she says, yes? Oh, hello.
I came to check to see how you were feeling. I was concerned about some of the things you had said earlier about your lack of self-confidence.
Well, I'm trying to spruce up a little. You give me a good reason to feel a little bit better. Please come inside.
Oh, thank you very much. Have you met her before, Theodore?
No, actually, I just met her very briefly in passing.
Oh, you've seen my friend Theodore before, but he is also an artist. He's an artist of the hunt.
So her room is a little messy, but it's messy the way you would imagine a star of stage and screen would be. There's large pieces of voluminous cloth that are draped over things, and there's a big mirror with little lights on it, and looks like there's makeup and stuff that's laid out, and costumes and things like that, and peacock feathers here and there. So I assume that, Gunter, you're talking to her, and Theodore, you're going to look around like the last
Yeah,
time.
I'm just sort of gonna step around and be very courteous, but sort of, while she's engaged, I'll kind of peek around. But I'll try to be stealthy.
Do a spot hidden.
Oh, 12. Wow, I'm actually successful today. Let me make sure that is a harder extreme. 1 second. Oh, darn, it's 1 point away from a extreme. Should I? I probably should make that.
Yeah, you can if you want, but it won't make much difference. So as you're looking around, you start to notice over towards her dressing table, there are red stains here and there. You notice that there's a couple of fingerprints that look like they're in red.
And I can tell blood pretty well. Is that blood? Or?
Well, it's the color of blood. Yeah. It's not shiny though.
It's starting to dry and darken.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty vivid red as you're looking at it.
But it's already starting to dry, but it's still pretty vivid.
Yeah,
red.
it doesn't have that gleam to it, but it's definitely. Yeah, you're not sure. They're tiny fingerprints, like it wasn't all over her finger, but just in spots, and she touched things and it got on things. You notice after a few seconds that there's quite a bit of it, here and there. It's not like, but you'll notice fingerprint by the mirror, fingerprint here.
I'll motion to the kitties. One of the riders just sort of in this direction.
And the rider jumps up onto her chair and sort of moves over towards the stain and sniffs. Turns to you and says, lipstick. Wax, it says.
Yeah. Merci beaucoup. Yeah.
You do notice then that it is the same color as her lips.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, have you checked out the roof of the train?
Climb up on the roof?
Yes.
No, I mean I've that's one thing that some people like to do, I imagine, for fun. But I had a rather spectacular entrance, didn't I? Jumping off the cliff.
Oh, it was, but I figured with your grace, you'd be able to make it up there.
Oh, are you inviting me to go dancing on the roof? How romantic.
Oh, maybe. But first, since I've been able to help you out, I know I'm probably just wasting my time, but I thought I just couldn't enjoy our dance on the roof unless we try to help that poor woman. Oh crap, what's her name? I just drew a blank.
Bonaval.
Oval, yes. Lady Bonneval, just help her with some of her issues. I know being a male talking to her, but you understand that my heart bleeds for the traumatized.
Well, she's not really. She's an odd woman, but she's somewhat obsessed with seeking revenge. She hates men, mostly because of what she says they did to her daughter.
Yes.
Did you ever read the story, the one that I mentioned?
No, I had not.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but there's an old legend, and I think that she might be the inspiration for the legend because she's so old,
Yes.
She goes, let me see if this works. And she walks over to the wall where there are some books.
Right.
And she pulls out the book and sort of holds it up near her head for a second and then lets it flip open into her hand. And she says, here it is. And she hands it to you so that you can read it.
It's so graceful, too. Thank you. The lover's heart. A grisly little myth told in the town of Granada in Spain is that of the sorcerer and the crone. The sorcerer married late and foolishly. As a reward for his folly, he one day surprised his young wife with her lover. Enraged, he summoned the dark powers and tore the unhappy pair to pieces. He ripped the hearts from their bodies and burned them to ash, vowing they would have no rest even in death. Their broken bodies were tossed to the dogs. He did not reckon on the dead girl's mother, a crone of horrid malevolence, who prayed daily before the church for vengeance. Her cries were heard, although it is doubtful if the answer to her prayer was truly divine. It is whispered the church was built on an older and grimmer foundation raised by the ancient Romans in worship of their pagan gods. One day she stood before the church holding aloft a glowing ruby the size of a clenched fist and in the shape of a heart. The sorcerer, seeing this stone, was consumed with desire for it. Night and day he thought of nothing else. He ordered his men to seize it, but the crone concealed it. He had searched, but the stone was gone, and even under torture she would not reveal its hiding place. She was condemned for witchcraft and burned in the square before the church. As the fire grew round her, the sorcerer demanded the stone from her. When the flames had engulfed her, she laughed and at last unlocked her lips. "Hate is stronger than love," she screeched, "and death is stronger than life. You may search forever, but only in your dreams will you find it," she taunted the sorcerer. With that, the flames took her. The sorcerer went mad with lust for that lost stone. In his last days, raving, claimed to have found the answer to the crone's taunt. So he locked himself in his tower and had his servants set it alight. Some say the pair have no rest, but are seen even now on dark nights, chasing each other amid the storm clouds, the crone holding her glowing prize aloft, and shrieks with delight at the sorcerer's vain pursuit. "Hate is stronger than love," she cries, "and death is stronger than life," as she laughs and laughs and laughs. Oh,
That's a strange story.
Oh, it's horrible.
To identify with that story. So somebody did something horrible to her daughter, and she wants revenge.
Terrible.
Horrible sorcerer. Oh, awful. Well,
anyways, why are you here? What can I do for you?
Well, I mean, besides just a chance to see your lovely face again, I just was like I said, I was hoping maybe you might be able to introduce me to the to her. Like I said, I just want to try to ease her pain.
I mean, I can try. Maybe when we're in the lounge later.
Oh.
But she really, it'd be very difficult. If you were a woman, it would be a different matter entirely.
But if I was a woman, I wouldn't be here to see you.
I can step outside.
Okay. I can do what I can.
Oh, I would appreciate that greatly.
Why do you want to talk to her so much?
Like I said, I'm soft-hearted, and I just care and would like to try and help her. You know.
I mean, you can try.
Thank you.
So later then.
All right. It's a date.
Okay.
I step out.
Right, and you step out.
Enchanting woman.
And you and Theodore are in the hallway.
What were we talking to her about?
Well, it doesn't look like there's any blood or scuffling along the window. So.
Yes. What do you think of that story? I mean, he's searching for the stone in the dreams. I mean,
yeah, such carried hatred and animosity. It really seemed to kind of fit her a little bit.
What struck me was searching and up on the roof of the car. It seemed like the scrabbling around was someone searching endlessly.
Yeah.
sorcerers.
All right, so we have who's going to talk to Mackenzie?
Neruda and I. We're going to do Meronim first because she's
and
scary.
then Mackenzie. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are in the hallway. You go to Moronimer's door. His door looks different than other doors. Color scheme is a little different. He's obviously an alien, so he's got a different sensibility. You knock on his door, and after a few moments, he comes to the door. And unlike many of the others, he doesn't just crack open the door and look out. He opens the door rather abruptly, and he's standing there. And he's like, "Oh, hello. What can I do for you?"
What is your proper title? Is it Ambassador Moronimir or?
Oh, no, just Moronimir.
Moronimir. Have you heard the terrible news yet?
There's terrible news?
Yes. Do you mind if we come in and
please
discuss it?
Come inside. Yes.
And you see, we have an entourage.
The cats.
Yeah.
I had a cat. I've been searching for him. We were separated. Fortune was his name.
Fortune. Who was he? A cat? Is he like these cats?
Very much like these cats, except that his hair was golden like the sunshine. It's a very beautiful cat. Highly intelligent. We went on many adventures together.
It's terrible to be separated from a good friend like this. What happened?
It's horrible. Well, many of our adventures led us into dangerous territory, selling wine and so forth. And there just came a moment when I turned and he wasn't there. And I've gone looking for him, but quite some time has gone by now. I hope that he's somewhere.
Yeah. Have you do cats from your world go to Uthar?
Oh yes, he was quite fond of Uthar. They thought him odd only in his appearance, but he's still a cat.
Yeah, a cat is a cat is a cat. Well, did you have the fortune to meet the charming Crown Prince of Uthar, little Nimbus?
One of the crown princes, I believe. Yes. I
assume it's a litter. Yeah, with striking eyes. He's been killed.
Killed? By who?
Here on the Dreamland Express.
That's what we're trying to figure out. We're just going around asking if anybody's noticed anything strange, heard anything strange, out of the ordinary.
And you're investigating, yes?
He was.
I'm afraid things become clear when you look at all of the events of the last day. I would suspect, and don't find me strange for thinking this, but the one called Mackenzie, he's hiding something.
Well, he seems like the least eccentric character on the train.
Indeed.
What do you think?
I don't know. I have a feeling about the man. He's hiding something. He's always clutching that case full of papers and refuses to show anyone what's inside of it.
So do you think that something happened, like the Prince Nimbus saw his papers and he...
I don't know. I don't know, but 'tis odd.
I wonder also if you have heard at all in quiet moments of the train sounds on the rooftop.
Oh, yes, yes, I did. In fact, I fancied that something was near me in the night, as if it had entered my room and was watching.
That's very alarming. Did you realize that you had a dream, or do people dream as Earthmen do?
Earth's dreamlands are quite strange, even after years being here, and I'm used to most of it, but once in a while I do fancy strange things. Dr. Neruda, what are you doing? You're in here, right?
Yeah, I'm looking around. Since he said something came into his room, I want to look for those wedge mark things.
All right, do a spot hidden. You don't have to do a spot hidden. You know what you're looking for. You do notice that there are some of those on the windowsill of the room. His window is kind of like your windows. It's not really a window. It's just an opening to the outside. So it lets in a slight breeze. But there's definitely some marks there.
Well, Myanmar, my friend, I think that your suspicion that something did watch you at night is accurate. Roland, come look at this.
Well, also, please, riders, come and see.
The riders come in with you, and Moronomir's like, my condolences, he says to the cats. He's like, your crown prince has been murdered, they've told me. How horrible. If there's anything that I can do, please let me know. My senses are different than yours.
Yes, here, you come look at this too, Ben.
Why, there are marks on the windowsill as if
they're
something climbed.
And all over on the outside of this building, this
But
car.
There is no one that would want me any harm. They want my wine, but I trade it freely. The cats are looking at the scratches, but they're not reacting at all.
And Prince Nimbus did not visit you here in your car at any point.
I have only seen him. I have only seen him in the train, mostly with you, Mr. Kurz.
Yeah, Dr. Kurz. Yeah. The marks on the sill, they look like they come in and out, or only in.
I guess both. You're just seeing little wedged marks. You can't really tell which direction they're going.
If you don't mind, Myanmar, to accompany us to Roland's room to the scene of the incident. I wonder if you are able to see something that we're unable to with your senses.
Yes, of course. Yes, shall we?
Yeah, just him around there. It's just on the way.
He seems visibly upset about the cats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the cats seem to treat him
indifferently, the way they treat most of the humans. They've kind of circled around the room, and he's just, standing there. So you guys are moving around, and then he's like, "Shall we then?"
I guess a psychology roll would have to come with an extra challenge die, given that he's not even remotely human.
Why don't you both do psychology rolls?
was a long shot.
11 is a regular success. I could spend a point of luck to make it hard.
No, regular's enough. You guys are confused. Moronimer's mannerisms are oddly different than a regular person's thing. So I'll just say, because of the way you both rolled, Gabriel, you're convinced that he might be involved, and Dr. Roland, you're convinced that he couldn't possibly be involved. Because
Perception.
right. All right. So you're going to go down the hallway back towards your door.
Yeah, as far as I know, nothing has been done with the cadaver as well.
Right.
We haven't, I don't think the cats do pallbearers maybe so much, so we have to, that's another plan.
Well, until you give the go ahead, they won't do anything. So Moronimer steps into the room and he looks around, and when he sees the cat, he's quite shocked. It's like, so much blood. It's terrifying. He walks over to the windowsill and he says, "It came in here."
That's what we think, yes.
But he didn't kill the cat here, correct?
Yeah, you think it's a he?
I think that it's Mackenzie. I don't know why. I think Mackenzie may be far more dangerous than we suspect.
Well, why would Mackenzie watch you in your room at night?
I don't know. He's an odd fellow.
Yeah.
And he looks at the cat again and just puts his hand up and he says, "It's very disturbing."
Yeah, I'm sorry to. Perhaps we will go to the lounge and have something soothing together. And you can tell me more about your beautiful golden cat, and under the strange circumstances that you lost your good friend Fortune.
I'm quite upset. Perhaps in a while I'll come and join you in the lounge.
Yeah.
Now, have we seen his hands? Does he have?
Yeah, he has hands very much like ours, but he's kind of purple. He's light purple.
Pretty eyes.
And he doesn't really have fingernails on his. He has yellow eyes. He says, if you need me, you know where I am, but please excuse me for now. I'm quite upset.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good night. I close the door to my cabin and I say, Gabriel Neruda, maybe the reason he can't find his cat is because his cat is invisible. And perhaps cats from where he comes from are a little larger with wedge-shaped claws.
I've thought that myself. I think he's involved somehow, because the only other window we found these wedge marks in is his.
He seems very shocked, but I don't think he understands what's going on himself. And his interest in blaming Mackenzie, I found suspicious.
Yes,
the way the
very...
Ibians and Sanathians were like.
Right. And I mean, we spoke with Mackenzie and his documents. It's his burden of his carrying secrets. Of course, he'd be hesitant to share them. That doesn't mean we shouldn't talk to Mackenzie, of course, but I have a feeling
I think
whatever presence is on this train,
and
it's connected with Myanmar.
Yeah. And if you introduce a house cat to a bobcat, it's very messy. This is not unlike what we saw. The shredding.
Where is everybody now? I know that Gabriel and Dr. Roland are in Dr. Roland's room.
Gunther and myself are headed along with Miss Sasha to see Lady Bonneval.
No, you
No,
said
no,
you were going to meet her in the lounge later.
Yep. So
Weren't we headed there right after?
she was going to meet us there though, later. So
like later. I thought it was
Yeah,
like
Right.
sorry, I thought.
So you guys are in the hallway walking in that
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah.
All
And
to the lounge.
Dorian, you're still out on the observation. And Dr. Edison, you are in the hallway also.
Yeah, once I exit from the Sarnathians, I'm going to check the hallway, see if there's anybody that I recognize, so I can catch up with them and let them know what I got or didn't get from the Sarnathians.
Mhm.
Everyone do a listen roll.
Come on, baby.
ooh, 19.
Yes, pass.
Bad feeling about this.
1.
Whoa, nice.
All right. Well, I
My
didn't do
ears, my ears spontaneously bleed.
this. Yeah, you should get that looked at.
So raise your hand if you passed. Okay. So Dr. York and Dr. Roland and Dr. Neruda are still in Kurz's room. Okay. And Dr. Gabriel, you're listening. After a few minutes, you guys are in there. Dr. Neruda, you definitely hear something clickety-clacking on the roof. Dr. Kurz is too busy upset up over the cat to pay any attention. Those of you who passed, you also hear a strange clickety-clack sort of sound scrambling across the roof. And then you hear blood-curdling screams coming from Madame Bonneval's room. And that's where we're going to end it for the week.
Oh, no. Oh.
Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gasaway, Stuart Lively, Keith Craig, Josh Harwood, and John Hook, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of the Gaming Club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.